confirmed number of coronavirus cases in Los Angeles County comes to 944,319. The confirmed number of deaths reaches 12,674. Here in Torrance, the total number of confirmed cases is 4,979, with total confirmed deaths at 105. We anticipate those numbers to change as the county updates its last 24-hour operating period. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's 4 p.m. on Wednesday, January 13th. A historic moment in American history took place this afternoon as President Donald Trump was impeached by the U.S. House for a second time during his presidency. President Trump was charged with incitement of insurrection over his role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Today, as National Guard troops secured the Capitol, the House of Representatives voted 232 to 197 to impeach the president. 217 votes were needed to impeach the president. The events from last week stunned and angered lawmakers who went scrambling for safety as people rioted and trespassed onto the Capitol. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, quote, "He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love," end quote. Trump responded by saying, quote, "That is not what I stand for, and it is not what America stands for. I call on all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers," end quote. Trump was first impeached by the House in 2018 over his dealing with Ukraine, but the Senate voted in 2020 to acquit him. President Trump has just 1 week left in office before handing over control of the White House to President-elect Joe Biden, who is scheduled to be sworn in on Wednesday, January 20th, as the 46th President of the United States. LA County's COVID-19 cases continue to rise and hundreds of people are still losing their lives every day. The Department of Public Health confirmed 288 new deaths and 11,994 new cases of the coronavirus Tuesday. Over the past 7 days, COVID-19 claimed the lives of 1,606 Angelenos. 22% of the 7,926 people hospitalized with COVID-19 are in the ICU, and while the number of people hospitalized each day due to the virus has stabilized at slightly under 8,000 patients, the demand on our healthcare system and hospitals remains overwhelming. Public health officials say businesses and employers play a big role in preventing and slowing the spread of COVID-19 within workplaces and the community. So far, records show at least 538 outbreaks at businesses across the county, the most ever reported since the beginning of the pandemic. Public health compliance teams continue to visit businesses across the county every day. They've issued 613 citations since the end of August. Each citation could cost businesses up to $1,000. Public health officials encourage businesses to take advantage of the COVID-19 Safety Compliance Certification Program. It provides employees and employers access to free online training about COVID-19 infection control protocols and allows businesses to self-certify that they are following all requirements. To date, more than 190,000 employers and employees have completed the training. Every international traveler flying to the United States will soon have to show proof that they tested negative for COVID-19. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced this new requirement on Tuesday, and it takes effect in 2 weeks. The order applies to U.S. citizens and foreign travelers. The CDC says it's delaying the start date to January 26th so that airlines and travelers have time to adjust to the changes. International travel dropped 76% in December of 2020 compared to the same month the year before. The new restrictions require air passengers to get a COVID-19 test within 3 days of their flight to the U.S. and show the result to the airline. Travelers who had the infection can show documentation that they recovered. CDC Director Robert Redfield says testing does not eliminate all risk, but can make travel safer, healthier, and more responsible. This news comes after multiple airlines pleaded with the federal government to replace international travel restrictions with pre-flight testing. All Californians 65 years and older can now get the COVID-19 vaccines. Governor Gavin Newsom made the announcement today, putting the roughly 6.6 million seniors in California ahead in line of child care providers, emergency workers, and teachers. Newsom says there is no higher priority than efficiently and equitably distributing these vaccines as quickly as possible to those who face the gravest consequences. State officials say those who are 65 and up have the greatest risk of being hospitalized and dying. The director of the California Department of Public Health says with hospitals crowded and ICUs full, the state needs to focus on vaccinating these individuals to help alleviate stress on healthcare facilities. Healthcare workers and those in nursing homes and other long-term living facilities can still get vaccinated. Johnson & Johnson has a single-dose COVID vaccine that is getting closer to FDA review. CEO Alex Gorsky says they're in the final stages of analyzing data from its Phase 3 trial. More than 45,000 people are taking part in that study, which could be ready to submit to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for emergency authorization on January 21st. Company officials say they can make enough doses of its vaccine this year to cover almost 1 billion people against the virus. Its efficacy should become clearer in a few days. The data from the Phase 3 trial, called Ensemble, is highly anticipated. If successful, it could speed up the global COVID-19 vaccination efforts, boosting the number of available doses and introducing a vaccine option that will be a lot easier for public health officials to handle. Unlike Pfizer and Moderna, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine can be fully administered in one shot and does not have to be stored in extremely cold temperatures. More new strains of the coronavirus are being discovered, the newest announced right here in the U.S. Researchers from Ohio State University say they found 2 new variants that likely originated here. One of them quickly became the dominant strain in Columbus from late December to early January. Like the variant that was first detected in the United Kingdom, these U.S. mutations also appear to make COVID-19 more contagious. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say they're looking at the new research. Ice cream company Dippin' may soon use its freezers to store COVID-19 vaccines. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Federal Emergency Management Agency, reached out to the Kentucky-based business to ask about its chest freezers. Dippin' freezers have the capacity to store items as cold as negative 122 degrees Fahrenheit. That meets the requirement for both Moderna and Pfizer's vaccines. The ultra-low temperatures allow the company to make its famous flash freezing ice cream mix with liquid nitrogen and store it. Dippin' Chief Development Officer Stan Jones says they're looking at sending some freezers to Guam and other areas that are more remote. So far, he says they've sold 2 freezers. Retail giant Walmart is making great efforts to help slow the spread of COVID-19. The Walmart located on Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance, near Sepulveda, temporarily closed at 2 p.m. today. And while that may have created a slight inconvenience for customers, Walmart executives say, as an essential business and a member of the Torrance community, they understand the important role they play in providing customers with food, medicine, and other essential items during this pandemic. They also understand the importance of being part of the solution in curbing the spread of the virus. So this afternoon, the Torrance Superstore temporarily shut down early as part of a company-initiated program to allow extra time for a third-party specialist to further sanitize the store. The closure will also give associates additional time to restock the shelves and prepare the store to once again serve the community safely. In addition to the deep cleaning, Walmart has committed to providing a safe environment to pick up those essential items by implementing safety measures such as providing masks and gloves along with hand sanitizer, installing plastic sneeze guards at the registers, and creating social distancing markers for shoppers when checking out. The location will remain closed through tomorrow and reopen on Friday at 7 a.m. Catalytic converter theft is on the rise, and local authorities are asking car owners and drivers to be vigilant and avoid becoming the next victim. We checked in with Sergeant Ron Salary from the Torrance Police Department to find out what people can do and what to look out for. Hi, Sergeant Salary. Thanks so much for calling in and speaking with us here on Zoom.
Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for having me.
So, catalytic converter theft is trending not only in Torrance, but throughout the South Bay and other parts of Los Angeles County. Can you share with us why people are targeting this car part and how many attempted and actual thefts there have been reported here in Torrance?
Sure. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about what they are. Catalytic converter is an emission control device. Every car with a combustion engine has one. Its purpose is to reduce toxic gases and pollutants in the exhaust created by the combustion engine. A catalytic converter is located on the bottom of a vehicle and it's connected to the exhaust or the tailpipe of the vehicle. Catalytic converter thefts have tripled in Torrance from approximately 100 thefts in 2019 to over 300 thefts in 2020. So they are growing not only in the nation, but right here in Torrance also.
Wow, and catalytic converters contain precious metals like platinum, palladium, or rhodium. So, are thieves selling them to scrap metal dealers?
Yes, they are being sold as scrap metal. The time it takes to steal a catalytic converter can be done in as little as 2 minutes. Once a criminal has selected a vehicle, they park their vehicle alongside it, and often they use their vehicle as partial concealment for potential witnesses that may be walking by. The criminal will use a battery operated cutting tool. They crawl underneath the victim's vehicle and they cut the catalytic converter off the exhaust system. A second criminal or accomplice usually is standing by nearby as a lookout while the other criminal is doing this.
I see. And are you finding that thieves are just stealing in broad daylight from people's driveways, or are they happening in commercial parking lots or in the middle of the night?
Uh, because of the reduced penalties for the crime, combined with the barriers placed on officers and detectives who are trying to convict the criminals, the crimes are happening during the daytime and nighttime hours. The crime is happening in shopping centers, in residential areas, in front of people's houses, also in commercial districts. It really is happening in various areas throughout the city at different times of the day. This is why we're asking Torrance residents to do the following. If they could try to park their car in a well-lit area whenever they're out, or also try to park your vehicle in a high traffic area whenever possible. Consider having a mechanic engrave your vehicle with identification numbers on the catalytic converter. We advise to use the vehicle identification number when doing that. And if possible, park your vehicle inside your garage and keep the door closed and secure.
Those are great pieces of advice. Now, with LA County's no bail policy that's been in place since the pandemic, and with Prop 47 passed back in 2014, which reduces stolen property worth less than 950, such as catalytic converters, would these crimes be considered a misdemeanor instead of a felony? And could some people just walk out after being arrested?
Uh, Christine, that is so true. In most cases, when officers have arrested a criminal in the field with evidence of having committed a catalytic converter theft, they're limited to citing them in the field and immediately releasing them. This is the direct result of the zero bail system from reducing the catalytic converter theft from a felony to a misdemeanor and was passed with Proposition 47. This is why it's more important now that ever before that we are vigilant.
Now, what kind of tools can people arm themselves with?
Well, we want people to consider installing a camera that alerts you on activity around your house directly by text to your cell phone, for example. This could be a Ring doorbell or a Nest camera, but we're also encouraging our residents to just look out for each other. If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity immediately. We would rather have a Torrance police officer respond and not be needed than to be needed but never have been called out.
Well, thank you so much for spending time to talk about this issue.
Thank you so much, Christine, for having me. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow, we are also launching a short video about catalytic converter theft on our YouTube page, which will be linked through our social media. The video will go into more detail on the information we discussed today, and we're asking that the residents of Torrance Police follow Torrance Police Department on our social media for the latest crime trends as well as additional public safety information.
Awesome. Thank you again. And you can also check out all of the social media handles on our screen right now to stay engaged and connected with the Torrance Police Department. Be sure to follow the Torrance Police Department's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube channel and sign up for Torrance Alerts if you haven't already. The Torrance City Council met last night to conduct city business. A proclamation was read honoring Torrance Police Chief Berg, who retired after 38 years in law enforcement. The council proclaimed January 18th through February 21st as Torrance Serves Service Leader Celebration in the city of Torrance. Developing plans for a 3-unit condo at 1615 Crenshaw Boulevard was approved. Council members discussed and approved implementation of the Emergency Medical Services Transportation Program within the Fire Department's Emergency Medical Division, with a progress report to be made in 3 years. They also awarded a contract services agreement to provide EMS billing services for the City of Torrance Fire Department for 5 years, starting this week. And Council adjourned its meeting in memory of 2 beloved members of the Torrance community who passed away in December. Gina Marie Mullen bravely fought cancer until December 18th, 2020. She was 49 years old. Mullen was the daughter of Jean and Linda Barnett, former city councilman and city treasurer. She was also the niece of former community services director John Jones. Gina grew up in Torrance and worked part-time in the city's Parks and Recreation Department from 1987 through 1994. She returned to the city after getting married to raise their children here. Gina battled cancer with strength, humor, valor, grace, and beauty for 9 years. Also honored last night was Howard Corman, who was an active member of the Torrance community. Not only was he a former city commissioner, but also an avid supporter of the arts. He sat on the Torrance Symphony Association board and was involved in many other organizations. He was also former council member Cliff Newmark's father-in-law and the husband of Dale Corman. You can watch the replay of the entire meeting on Torrance City Cable or online. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share stories from our community, feel-good pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. The city's Co-Rec Club has been continuing to get creative, finding fun ways to kill the time while staying safer at home. They've been posting video challenges that are easy to follow. Their newest post shows a game where you roll a little ball across a table and try to make it into one of several paper bags that are taped at the end. If you make it into most bags, you win a little bit of cash, but the bag in the middle says you gotta take out the trash. The Co-Rec Club is a co-ed recreation program for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade Torrance Middle School students and residents. It's been around for 70 years and is keeping kids of all ages entertained during this pandemic. If you have a great story to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 Today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as Ben McCain brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.